Yo, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be changing out my old brakes for some new Shimano MT-200 brakes. As you can see, I got these spare mechanical disc brakes on my bike. My old Hayes HFX 9 brakes. The pistons and the main brake lever seized up, so I had to replace them. So I had a spare pair of mechanical brakes laying around. I put them on, and now I've got a new pair of hydraulic Shimano disc brakes, fully bled with the lever and a two-pot piston. I'll show you my old ones, the Hayes HFX 9s. These were really good brakes, but while I had the bike in storage, the bleed port was leaking. Somehow it just emptied out, and I believe the main piston, the spring in the piston in the brake lever must have rusted or seized up, so when you press the brake lever, it doesn't return. I've tried bleeding them, but still the same. I think I need to replace the actual piston and the spring in the brake lever, which we'll get to another time. But these Shimano mechanical disc brakes on my bike, they were from an old bike of mine. Temporary fix. It works. They're good brakes. They do the job. I apologize for the camera angle, that's because having to record with one hand and then do everything else with the other hand is not as easy as it looks. So these are the new Shimano MT-200 brakes. These are not very expensive. They're the budget range. About 30-40 quid UK. You get your spare olives and barbs, and then your bolts to go into your adapter, and a manual. Nothing else in the box. I apologize for the camera angle. I'm using one hand for the camera and the other hand to do everything else. It comes with a 1700mm cable, the VH59, and all the other information is on there. They look really nice as well. They do the job. The brake lever is quite long, so whether you use 3 fingers or 2 fingers is doable. 2-pot piston and the caliper. It comes with the pad spacer as well, and you get resin brake pads that come with them. I'll leave them here, and these are some of my tools. Not all of my tools. I'll show you all my tools in another video. I got quite a collection of tools. So now we're gonna have to remove my bar grips, the old brake lever, the old brake piston, and get the cables out. I've already loosened them because I'm working with one hand. So just slide them off. Now we're going to remove the old brake caliper, the mechanical one. These Shimano mechanical brakes, they work really well, but having hydraulic disc brakes in the front and mechanical on the back didn't feel quite right. There's a bit of Loctite on the nuts. Just gonna leave this hanging here a minute. Get the cables off. And try and get these clips off. It's a bit tricky with one hand. You're gonna need the clips, so I'm gonna put them aside once I get them off to put onto the new brakes. There you go. One down, one more to go. This Trek is an all-mountain bike, categorized as an all-mountain. It has 120mm front suspension and 120 on the rear as well. You got the Fox float on the rear, and then you got the Manitou blocks on the front, which come with travel adjust. I can change the travel from 90 to 120 on the front suspension without affecting my spring rate. So these are the old Shimano mechanical disc brakes off my old bike, which I was using temporarily while I got the other ones. These come off an old bike of mine. They work just as well. This bike's been in storage for a few years. I've taken it out. I'm gonna service the headset, the bottom bracket, the rear shock, the wheel hubs, as well as the front suspension forks. I'm gonna be adding a new damper on the suspension fork and a new rebound adjuster as well, because there's no rebound adjust, no lockout for the damper side. Just adjusted to change the travel of the fork. Stay tuned for all that. I got some contact cleaner, isopropyl alcohol, to give the handlebar a good clean. I'm also going to be getting new stickers and decals for the bike. And I'll be touching up the paintwork as well for any scratches and all. The rear chain and seat stays carbon fiber composite. So I'm gonna give the disc. Gonna clean the brake discs, spray some isopropyl alcohol on it, and take a rag and give it a good clean before I put the new brakes on there. Make sure there's nothing contaminating the discs. As you can see, I've got the old adapter already on it, so I don't need to add another one. These are 160mm rotors, disc rotors. Make sure we get both sides of the discs. Give them a good wipe. Just gonna spin the wheels so the other part of the disc comes out from under the chainstay and the seat stay. These are the Bontrager wheels and hubs. Where the bike's been in storage, everything on the bike needs a good old service, re-greasing and everything. Pivots, the bottom bracket, the headset, and the wheel hub bearings, which I will get to in other videos. Now I'm going to remove the pad spacers, take the brake pads out, give the caliper, the brake lever and the cable a good clean with some isopropyl alcohol or contact cleaner. Disc brake cleaner works fine, but I found the isopropyl alcohol from the contact cleaner is a lot better. It doesn't contain any other sorts of chemicals which can be harmful. Just gonna straighten the pin and get it out so you can remove the pads and the spacer. Just gonna straighten the pin, don't bend it too much. Just slide it out. Put that to one side, you're gonna need it again. These are resin pads which come with the brake caliper already pre-installed. Put them to one side. Spacer. Just gonna make sure there's no brake fluid or anything on the caliper or the brake lever to contaminate anything. Give it a good spray and then a good wipe. apologize for the camera angle. And I'm also in my kitchen. As you can see, it's night time outside. I'm gonna put the brake pads back in, make sure the retaining spring is inserted properly. Once that's done, we're gonna put the pad spacers back in, just to make sure that I don't accidentally press the brake lever while I'm cleaning it, causing the pistons to come out too far. Put the retaining pin back in. Give the cables a good old wipe. Work our way down to the brake lever. Sorry about the plastic bag. Get that out the way. Give the levers a good wipe. Make sure nothing's contaminated with any hydraulic oil. They use mineral oil for the Shimano brakes, unlike my Hayes. They use .4 fluid, which is a lot more harmful than the mineral oil. Now to install the brakes onto the bike. Once again, apologize for the camera. Using one hand for the camera and one hand to do everything else. Not quite as convenient. Just gonna slip the brake lever onto the handlebar. Position it there. Feed the brake caliper through the cable of the front brakes. Just gonna line up the cables. Take the old clips and get them onto the cables and get them hooked up. Got the first clip in. Just gonna slip the clip on and get the cable onto the first one. I apologize for the camera angle once again. Now we're gonna get the brake caliper mounted to the post mounts for the calipers on the brake discs. I got 160mm rotors on the front and back. Just gonna measure up the cable to make sure everything lines up. And then we're gonna remove the brake spacers or the pad spacers. Pull the clip out, get the pad spacer out. Like I said earlier, these brakes, they already come pre-filled with mineral oil. So you don't need to bleed them or fill them with oil. Unless you decide to cut the brake cables to shorten them. So if you lose any brake fluids or you get any air in there, you'll have to bleed them again. These are one-way bleeding systems, and I'm just on the brake lever as a bleed port and not on the caliper. Just bending the pin, the retaining pin for the pads, using a pair of needle nose pliers. gonna mount the caliper. Just gonna pull some of the cable through to the front. Got too much cable at the back. There you go. Just gonna screw the bolts in with my finger. There's a washer in each of them. And they got blue Loctite already pre-applied to the nuts or the bolts. Tighten the bolt and then loosen them by 110. So the caliper wiggles a little bit. This is so we can get the brake caliper aligned with the discs. Okay. Now I'm gonna press the brake lever so the pads clamp the disc and then tighten the bolts. Loosening the nut for my gears, controls, or my shifters. Get my handlebar grips, slide them on so I can measure up where to get my brake lever and my shifters in place. As you can see, there's a bit of a tension on the cable on the brake lever side, which I will relieve. I will relieve the tension cable by taking the brake lever off the handlebar and then twisting it. Which I do off camera. Gonna tighten the handlebar grips. Don't over tighten them because the threads, if you mess up the threads, then you'll have to get new bolts. Gonna put the handlebar end clips. Gonna get a hammer and whack them back in, or a mallet. And now this is the end product. The brake lever secured, and the pistons on the caliper aligned, or the brake pads aligned with the brake discs. They look really nice. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll be uploading more videos. Next, I will be servicing my bottom bracket. It needs a bit of service, it's been a while. Thank you guys, and please like